telling you that this is a recording in progress. So yeah, so the recording will also be shared afterwards, especially if you know someone that is, that should have been here and they can't make it for some reason, you can share it with them as well. But we'll be sharing this with everyone as well. So, you don't need to be frantically taking notes during the webinar. This will be shared as well. Okay. And then the third item here is that, we'll have an opportunity accorded to you during towards the end of the webinar for you to ask questions. So we just request that you note down all the questions you have, and you will be able to ask those during that time for the Q&A. But you can also at any time drop your questions during on the chat feature of Zoom, and then we'll be able to also take a note of that. We have several members from the YSAU team and the Hive Colab team on the call. They will also be responding to some of those questions in the chat, okay? So just a quick recap, make sure your microphone is kept on mute at all times during the webinar. This is being recorded, and ensure that you're not Robert. Agenda for the afternoon, or what our game plan looks like, and then I'll be inviting the rest of the team to join in just in a minute. First, we'll just have some welcome remarks coming from the national coordinator for the Youth Startup Academy, and that's none other than Rita Ngenzi, who will also perhaps briefly introduce some of the members of the YSAU and Hive Colab team on the call. And then we'll be hearing some alumni stories. So we have two amazing female founders who will be just sharing what their journey has been and what they learned and got, the value they got from the Youth Startup Academy. And then the third item on our agenda is, of course, going to be diving deep into how to apply. We'll take you through the application process. We'll take a look at the pitch deck template, and then that will be crowned by a Q&A session, where you'll be having an opportunity to ask questions and also get the questions you post in the chat responded to. So with that, let me go ahead and invite Rita to unmute herself, introduce herself a bit, perhaps introduce the rest of the team that is on the call, and then take us through what the YSAU is. Rita, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Rob. I hope everyone can hear me. So yes, wonderful. Welcome to the YSAU webinar, specifically for female founders. We hope that you're able to get as much information as possible today to make you feel as confident as possible to put in your application. So my name is Rita Ngenzi, like Rob mentioned, and I'm the national coordinator for the YSAU. I'm also joined by my team. I just want to see who's here. I see we've got Carol, who's part of the team. She's on the webinar. We also have Becky. I see Becky here as well from the team. Of course, Rob. And in case I've forgotten anyone else, please, team, say hi in the chat. Okay, so I think we can now jump straight into the academy. Wonderful. So, as we know, Uganda is often ranked as one of the most entrepreneurial cities or countries in the world, rather. And just a simple walk downtown Chikubo is already proof of that. You can see that our entrepreneurial ecosystem is very alive, very vibrant as well. When we look at the other side of the coin, we also know that we have some of the highest rates of failures. Many of these businesses, startups, often do not live to see their first birthdays. I think this is because the average Ugandan entrepreneur has so many hurdles to jump through before they can even start thinking about what growth or what scaling looks like. Some of these hurdles include access to resources, amongst many others. what we're seeing is that there's a domino effect of failure. And what's required is interventions that are ready to fill that gap and to ensure that we stop the failure from where it's happening, and that we have survival and businesses living to see their first birthdays. And that is the goal of the YSA, which is the Youth Startup Academy Uganda. What we're here to do really is to support the Ugandan ecosystem to ensure that it stands out and that we see success stories coming out of the YSA Uganda, success stories from entrepreneurs such as yourself. Now, the YSA Uganda is really a continuation of the success of the original YSA, which is in Korea. And Uganda is the first overseas incubation hub of the YSA. And what it does really, what we are doing is building on the learnings, but also providing local context to it. What we've seen in the YSA Korea is the birth of 2 unicorns. Now, I'm sure if you're an entrepreneur, you probably know what it means to be a unicorn. And to be a unicorn, it means that you have a valuation of more than $1 billion. And this is something that has been achieved in the YSA Korea. And we hope to someday say the same about YSA Uganda. So through the YSA Korea, there's been over 5,800 alumni that have walked through the doors. And these alumni come from various sectors as well. So it is not sector specific, but in a 10-year period, over 5,800 entrepreneurs, such as yourself, have been supported through the Academy. Some other successes that we can also share on this is that these entrepreneurs have created or generated cumulative sales of over $3 billion. Now, you can imagine this sort of investment or this sort of sales being put back into the ecosystem or into the economy, and really what that would mean for our Ugandan economy as well. More than that, there's been over 17,000 jobs that I've created by these entrepreneurs, such as yourselves. And this, again, is one of the goals of the YSA Uganda, which really ties itself to the high rate of youth unemployment in Uganda. And we understand that in order to address this, we have to support a critical part of this, which is entrepreneurs and startups. And so we hope to also share such numbers that come out of the YSA Uganda. Now, the YSA Uganda is a close collaboration between the International Trade Center, which Robert and myself represent, COSME, NITA Uganda, and of course with Hive Colab as the local implementing partner and the home of the YSA Uganda. Now, if you want to know more about really what we hope to achieve in YSA Uganda, the first step was through our launch, which happened in June. As you can see, this is some of entrepreneurs on stage. We've got some of our partners on stage as well. So it was a really vibrant event to birth this amazing academy that we hope will be a game changer and will support 1,000 entrepreneurs across Uganda. So that is the big goal of reaching entrepreneurs, not just in Kampala, but really across the various regions in Uganda as well. And that's the number that we tie ourselves to. This will happen over 4 cohorts. So we have our first cohort, which is currently in the 3rd stage and is still ongoing. And then, of course, next year, which is the call for applications that we have now, in which we will be accepting the 2nd cohort into the academy. Now, recently, like I mentioned, a few months ago, we welcomed our first cohort into the academy. As you see the faces on your screen, this is just some of the faces of the entrepreneurs that were selected to get into the first cohort. Now, the cohort 2 is going to look different from really the application right down to the recruitment. What we're looking at is breaking down your entrepreneurial journey. And so your application starts from whether you're at ideation and validation, whether you're at product market fit, or you're at growth or scaling stage. All of this is clearly laid out in the applications, which you'll hear more about. And so when you are putting in your application, just have an understanding of in which point of this does your business fit in. it's more especially looking at the revenue, at your annual revenue. So if you're between 0 and 15, then you're more likely at ideation. If your annual revenue is between 15 and 75K, you're at product market fit. If your annual revenue is over 75K, then you then fit into the growth stage or scaling part of our program. And so this is done to ensure that we really provide the best tailor-made support for you. So why should you apply into the academy? As an entrepreneur, this is something that you ask yourself before applying into any program. So what we offer firstly is access to fully equipped Makerspace facilities that will be set up for all entrepreneurs that will be accepted into the academy. We're also setting up access to mobile app testing and computer labs for tech-enabled entrepreneurs or businesses, as well as access to fully equipped Makerspace facilities, which will also be available for the entrepreneurs slash businesses that are accepted into the academy. We also provide access to local and international expert coaches. So through our bootcamps, you will go through a series of bootcamps, a series of coaching and support in which you will get really to interact and to gain as much experience and learnings from these experts. Beyond that, we also give you exposure to international markets through regional as well as international exhibitions, where you get to really go and exhibit your business, but beyond that, network with the right people and find out what is happening in other ecosystems as well. The YSAU Uganda also provides you linkages to investors and direct investment into startups. So we provide the platform or the bridge in which you get to meet possible investors that would be interested in your business and we want to take the conversation further with you by virtue of you having gone through the academy. So these are just some of the reasons in which we would encourage you to apply for the academy. But beyond that, I think really as a personal journey, you understand really the needs that your business has currently, you understand the challenges that you are facing. And if you feel like this fits into that journey as well, then we're happy to really walk that road with you. But of course, beyond me sharing about the academy, I'd love to welcome some of our alumni, or our female alumni rather, that are in the cohort. Firstly, we've got Sandra Awili, who is the founder of ShareCard, and she will come on and share really her experience of the YSAU so far, and then of course answer any questions that you may have. So over to you, Sandra. Thank you.
Sandra, are you on the call? Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I just came back. My internet is acting up. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes, we can now.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Pretty much didn't catch what you said earlier. So I don't know, maybe just give me an idea of what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Sandra, you're just sharing your journey through the YSA for female participants who would want to apply into the academy.
Okay. All right. So hi, guys. My name is Sandra Awili. I'm the founder of ShareCard. Very much privileged to have been part of the first YSAU cohort this year. What I would say in terms of my experience and what we do, first I'll start with what we do. So ShareCard is a monitoring and evaluations platform that is built for organizations to have access to real-time information about how their projects are being implemented on ground. So we're working with data to help organizations gather this data very easily. I think initially while building this product, I was very I was very strained into guidance. I didn't really know what type of guidance I needed to be able to build this out into a business. But joining the YSAU this year, it was a very, very intense program where we had boot camps. I think the most the thing that I enjoyed the most was the boot camp, where we were together with so many other young people building amazing businesses. You got to connect with them, got to share our ideas, got mentored. Throughout the whole training, I was always discovering something new, always discovering something that I need to know as I'm building out this business, terms that I've never heard about. I think as young people and as Ugandan women, we need to also acknowledge the fact that, you know, there is only so much our education system can do. And for us to be, if we are innovative people, we need to seek out spaces that would help us enhance that innovation and also help us earn from it. So I think for me, the YSAU space as a woman, I would speak in the place as a woman, was extremely helpful. I think I felt extremely accommodated. I felt like I was not being patronized in any way. I felt like, you know, the questions that I had were responded to in the manner that I would expect them to respond to. I think we will all attest to, you know, going into spaces that are made for women, and, you know, you end up feeling like you're being reminded of your gender roles every day as a woman in business instead of being taught how to run a business. The main focus of YSAU was to teach us how to run a business, and that's exactly what they did. I think looking at my pitch deck today and the pitch deck that I entered the program with, it's much different, much better, easier to understand. Also, the concept of the business in itself has improved a lot. I have clarity into, you know, what direction I need to be going, the customers that I need to be targeting, you know, even sharing with some of the people that I was in the bootcamp with, I got to understand, to get more new ideas on which areas I could expand to, the possibilities in other sectors, and also knowing that, you know, the people I was in the same room with shared a challenge that I was trying to solve. For me, that was very reassuring, knowing that, you know, I'm not doing this in vain. I'm actually solving something, a problem that exists. So I would encourage ladies, I would encourage you, please join the program, apply. I think you have a bit of time between now and the deadline, but do apply. If you're serious about running a business, if you're serious about building a successful entity, please apply. I've been connected to so many people that would ideally become partners, funders, customers, all of these things. And this is what the YSAU space was built for. And I think the people who are there are doing an amazing job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Thank you for sharing your experience. And we hope that it will encourage other female founders such as yourself to really leverage the support that exists. I think now I'll hand over to Regina, who's the founder of Impact Nutrition, to share her experience of the YSAU. Regina, over to you.
Thank you very, very much. I hope I'm audible. And my experience, perfect. I want to start by drawing from what Sandra said about how her pitch deck has changed from where it was. And for me, that just to add to that, it means that the pitch deck changed, but it's not just the pitch deck, it's the way you run the business. So my experience goes back to the fact that as a nutritionist, I'm creating these products just to offer services upon the knowledge I acquired from school. And I did not have any entrepreneurial experience. So joining the YSA gave me that opportunity to not only create a product, but to also create a business. Because it's one thing to have a product that's a solution, and it's another for your business to make sense. So I had a chance to attend sessions about financial modeling, which helped me recreate my pricing points. And actually, I noticed I was undercharging for certain products. And furthermore, it not only helped myself as the founder, but also a team member, because we had an opportunity to attend the sessions too before the Ebola crisis. And I hope that the people in the next call to also have that opportunity to have two people represent. Very commonly, the founder is the vision bearer and does a lot of the creating. But with the YSA, having me attend with a teammate helped me show the teammate that they could also learn about business, and in the day-to-day operations of the business, they now also look at the business, not just as the solution we offer for nutrition, but the entirety of business, financials, management. And talking of management, one of the most beautiful things that I learned was people management, how to hire, and the stories of founders further made that point strong. When we learned from Trip Z, we got someone from SafeBorder, really just emphasizing the aspects that you need to build as a startup. And some of these, like I said, were how to build people, processes, and the product. And I remember one of the founders of Trip Z, I believe, said that it's about creating the processes and then the people, and then you can always recreate the product. And to conclude, I really say that all the founders, in case you feel like your product is at its best possible and you feel you don't need maybe such an opportunity, I think you could be wrong, because every time you set aside time to just think about your business, to just think about your product in depth, you're going to actually realize opportunities to be better. Because since this is about creating unicorns, one of the things that you have to keep doing is to keep thinking for your customer and keep creating before the other creators. So the YSA is a place to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Regina, for sharing your experience as well. So I think if you have any questions really for Sandra or Regina, please feel free to reach out in the chat or reach out to us and we'll put you in contact with them as well. I think now I can hand over to you, Rob, to talk us through how to apply successfully.
Thank you very much, Rita, for that. And thank you to Sandra and Regina for sharing your experiences and just encouraging everyone else to apply as well. And by the way, in the process, I think we'll be able to share Sandra's and Regina's contacts. So if you need some support in the process as well, you might be able to reach out to them directly as well. So now let's get into the section of the webinar where we really take you through the application process and show you exactly how to apply. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing just about now. But you know, before you begin your application, some things that you need to take note of. Okay, this is before you apply. So first and foremost, we'll be expecting you to have your pitch deck ready. Okay, and I will be going through what a pitch deck is and the kind of structure we're looking at in terms of content, what you should include in that content. But a pitch deck is simply, you know, about a 10-page presentation that allows us to be able to allow someone to be able to really understand your business, highlights the problem, the solution, your market. So we'll be talking about some of that shortly. And then the other aspect is that this application, we have made it very, very smooth. It's going to take you about 15 to 20 minutes. And if you have your pitch deck already, it's going to take you even less. But we'll ask you that as you begin your application, whenever that is, before the deadline, just, you know, give yourself about 15, 20 minutes of one sitting, and then you'll be able to start your application. The reason for this is because you're not able to save the application and then continue maybe some other time. However, the content of the application is temporarily saved on your computer. So if you're using the same browser, let's say you begin the application, then for some reason, maybe your laptop blacks out or your computer blacks out or there's power blackout or the internet, whatever the case is. When you get back the next time and just go back to the same browser using the same link, you'll find that the information you already entered actually there. Okay, but if you change the browser, you won't be able to find that information. So we just recommend that you do the application in one sitting. Okay, and then the third aspect, of course, as always, is to ensure that you have a stable internet connectivity, because the application is entirely online. And like we said, it does not save it to the system. It saves locally on your computer. So we will only be able to access your application once you hit submit towards the end, and you'll see exactly what that looks like in just a moment. Okay, now I want us to dive into the actual application and actually show you what the application looks like. Now, remember, at any point, feel free to ask your questions in the chat or just note them down, and you'll have an opportunity to ask them towards the end during the Q&A session as well. Okay, so let me just change my screen. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and then share the application screen in just a moment. I see some chats coming up here, so keep writing those questions there. And also the team can actually go ahead and start responding to some of the questions that are coming through in the chat. Okay, so let me share my screen here. Okay. So this, what you see here, actually, I think I'm a little bit ahead of myself. Let me go back a bit. So the application basically looks something like this. Let me just refresh to show you what the initial. So when you tap on the application link, okay, you're going to be able to see a screen that looks something like this, okay? And basically, this will tell you, welcome to the YSAU Cohort 2 application, okay? Once you're on this page, this is a welcome screen, really. You will simply be having to click on this Let's Get Started button, okay? So just click on that, and then the application begins. Now, when you click Get Started, you'll be brought to this screen that gives you some bit of information that before you get started. So we ask you that before you continue beyond the screen, download the pitch deck template. You'll have to submit this at the end. So we'll ask you to download it here, okay? So when you click on this link, it is going to open a Google Drive. It's a Google presentation slide deck, okay? Now, on your end, you will not be able to edit this. So what you need to do is actually you come here to File, where you see File here, okay? On the top left, top right corner of your screen, top left corner, and click on File, and then come to Download, okay? There'll be several options here for you to download. You will click on the Microsoft PowerPoint, okay? Click on the Microsoft PowerPoint, and this will automatically download this pitch deck onto your computer. So you can see here, the pitch deck template has been downloaded, okay? And then you will now be able to edit it. You can open this on PowerPoint, and then you'll be able to edit it, okay? So that's if you want to edit it on your computer. If you want to edit it online, you will simply come back to the same place, File, okay? And then you come and say, make a copy, okay? So you'll make a copy of this, and then you'll have a version of it saved in your Google Drive or in your Gmail, and you can edit it as well, okay? So those are and you'll make sure you make a copy of the entire presentation. So those are the two options to edit this, okay? The first option is you'll come to File, you come to Download, make sure you download the Microsoft PowerPoint so that you can download it on PowerPoint on your computer locally. If you want to edit it online, you'll come and say, make a copy of the entire presentation, and then it will automatically save it to your drive, and you should be able to edit it as well, okay? So now that is clear. Let us go ahead and just going to expand this. Let's go ahead and go through the different components of this pitch deck. So the slide you see here, this is ideally supposed to be the title slide, okay? So you're going to change this and basically just put the name of your business and the logo so that it's a title slide. It's the first slide that basically tells us briefly about your business, okay? And then we come down here to the first page. This is what we're calling your company purpose, okay? Here, you'll simply tell us very briefly about what your mission or your vision is as a business. What is it that you're trying to do, or what reason does your business exist for? Okay, that's what we need in this particular slide. Where it says graph, use few words. We recommend you to use more photos, okay, high quality photos, as opposed to a lot of words. We don't need an entire paragraph or an essay here, okay? We just need you to be able to, in a very brief way, tell us what your company is about. And then we get into the actual content of the pitch deck. First is the problem. Here you want us to tell us in about 3 bullet points, what is the problem that you're solving? Be sure to use statistics that really back up the size of the problem or really emphasize what the problem that you're solving is, okay? So first and foremost, you really have to show us that you understand the problem you're solving here. Use the appropriate pictures here to enable you really communicate the problem that you're solving. After sharing about the problem that you're solving, now it's a good time to tell us what the solution is. What is the solution for this problem? Okay, so here is where you're going to share with us the solution. And the solution is a bit different from the product or the service itself. Okay, so for example, I could say I'm solving the problem here. My problem could be, traffic congestion that leads to a lot of time wastage. Okay, so that's the problem I'm solving. I could find the statistics that back up that. I could say, okay, according to source XYZ, African, residents of African cities, waste up to 1 full day in a year due to traffic congestion. Boom. You've told me what the problem is. You've backed up that problem with a valid statistic. Okay. Now, my solution would perhaps be, the solution for that is an alternative means of transportation that is convenient, that is, perhaps based on an alternative means of transport other than vehicles, for example, which are always stuck in traffic jam. Okay, that would be my solution. And then here, as to why now, here we just want to understand, why is this the best time to solve this problem? Okay, so you could give us some justification. Again, where possible, use a bit of data and statistics to actually back it up. Okay, so in case of my problem, I would say, well, African cities are projected to, Africa's population is projected to even grow much faster. By 2080, for example, Africa will be the most populous continent on the world. And Africa's cities are actually going to be some of the biggest cities in the world. And that is why this is the best time to begin addressing this issue of congestion. Okay, so that's just a rough idea of what this justification is. Okay, but show us why this is the best time to address this problem. And then after that, you'll now tell us about your product. So what is the product that delivers the solution that you told us before? So I told you my solution. Now my product would be something like a mobile app that connects riders to drivers in the most effective way, to those that are near them, and it's very affordable, okay? And it allows for people to move very quickly across the city, hence avoiding traffic jam, okay? So that's your product. Or maybe you're making something like, I don't know, you're producing products. Let's say you make candle from honeycomb, something innovative. This is where you show us your product or tell us more about your product, okay? Or your service for that matter. After doing that, we now want to understand the market size. And by market size here, there are about 3 components we want to look at. First is what we call the TAM. The TAM, TAM, stands for the total addressable market. Here, we would love for you to tell us how big is the market. In other words, what's the total size of the biggest possible market? If your solution maybe targets the whole of Africa, tell us how big is the market for your solution or your product in the whole of Africa, okay? Now, at the beginning, you won't start immediately with the whole of Africa, right? If that's your total addressable market. You're going to start from a slightly smaller region. So perhaps that is now what we call the serviceable available market, okay? The available market, this is something that is closer to you, that is more realistic. So for example, if my TAM or the total available market was the whole of Africa, my serviceable available market could be East Africa. Now that is closer to home, okay? And then you also want to start with the whole of East Africa. That is still a little bit too big for the beginning, right? But if I say, okay, now let me come to something smaller, which is Uganda. Now my goal is to start with Uganda first. So that becomes my serviceable obtainable market, or the SOM, okay? So this is the kind of breakdown we need you to offer in terms of addressing your market size in this particular slide, okay? So the biggest possible, you come to a medium size, and then you come to the target of the smaller size. And the term could be something like the whole of Uganda, and then my SAM could be maybe one region of Uganda, and then my SOM could be the district that I'm from, for example, right? So whichever way the size of your market looks, we want it to be broken down in those 3 different layers, okay? And then after that, it's now time to tell us about the team that is going to be able to deliver this solution. What is the dream team? Here, you want to make sure you highlight the key members of your team. What are their roles? And most importantly, what are their experiences? What is it that they bring to the table, especially with respect to the value proposition of your company, okay? What makes them key and valuable members of this team, okay? You want to be able to show us things like what are their experiences, what are their relevant backgrounds that allows them to come to this team and add a lot of value. But most importantly, what we want to see here is that this team is actually capable of delivering this solution, okay? So this is very important. Highlight the key members of the team, include a photo of each person, their name, their role, and a brief description of their experiences, okay? That's all. Don't go into so many details, okay? And then after you have told us about the team, we also want to know, how do you make money? In other words, what's your business model, okay? So this could be, maybe a subscription service, maybe you charge commissions, maybe you simply sell products and get a margin. The goal here is for you to demonstrate that you know how you're going to make money or have an idea of how your business will generate sales and revenue, okay? That is what we mean here by business model. And then down to that is what we're calling traction. Traction is simply proof of work. In other words, show us what you have achieved so far. This could be maybe the stage of your product or your service. For example, you could say we already have an MVP. That is traction. That is something that is a milestone that you've achieved. Share it here. Maybe you have letters of intent. In other words, you have prospective customers who have already expressed their interest in purchasing from you. You can also share that here. It could be testimonials from happy customers who are saying, this is the best solution. These people are amazing. They are God's gift to humanity. All that amazing testimonials is also a form of traction, okay? It could be the number of customers you have or you have served. It could also be the number of users who have already tested your product if you're in the early stage, or it could be maybe you have already done some market validation if you're not yet already in the market. In other words, if you haven't launched and you're still in ideation. Hello there. I just got a power cut shortly, but sorry for that interruption. Let me just get my presentation back. Just had a power cut, and I need to switch devices here. But maybe the team can jump in and answer some of the questions on the chat. Rita, if you're there, Carol, Becky, as I get back the slides. Could you just answer some of the questions in the chat? Thank you. Carol, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm
Please,
trying to
thank
ask
you.
some
I'm
questions.
just switching from another device to one where
Yes,
there's
I am.
power.
Robert?
Yes, please. I was
I'm
saying
trying to answer. Oh, yes.
I had a power cut and just switching. So if you could answer some of those questions in the chat,
Yes, I'm working on them. Yes, thank you.
fantastic. And if you have questions, you can also unmute yourself and ask them as we deal with this technical issue.
Okay, members, as Rob tries to figure it out, Carol here. In case you have any questions regarding the YSA, please let them come through.
Hi, everyone. I saw a question about from Charles. If men can apply, everyone can apply. Just to be more specific in the response that you got, everyone can apply. This webinar was just to encourage female founders to apply. But in terms of the application criteria, men and women, it's open to men and women, so everyone can apply.
Absolutely, that's correct. So everyone can apply. Sorry for that technical interruption. There was a power surge in my area, so just had to switch. I hope you can all see my screen again. Okay, so we're talking about financials. Okay, so if you already have been in business and you've been making money, we just want to see your financials, your annual financials. Okay, this is how much you have been making over this period of time. Or if you're not yet in business, you can also give us projections of what you see yourself making in the near future, in the next quarter, in the next year or two. Show us those financial projections on this particular slide. Okay, and then after that, of course, it's now time to tell us that you understand your competition. And the goal here is for you to really show us who your competition are, who are the key competitors in this particular sector. And here, there are quite a few things we want to see. First of all is, names of some of those competitors. So who are your top 3 or top 4 competitors, okay? And then we want to see, how do you compare against them? What aspects of your business makes you stand out from this competition? That's really all that they want to see. Okay, so first of all, highlight who the competitors are, and then show us in which areas you are better or you match up to your competition. Okay, that's going to be really, really key here in terms of the competition. And then after that, we basically begin to finish our deck, and you will end up your pitch deck by your fundraising ask, or what we call your ask. Okay, in other words, now that you have told us about your business, what do you want from us? Or how may we support you? Okay, so it could be a monetary ask. It could be, okay, we're looking for this X% or X amount of money in US dollars. And in exchange for that, we are going to give up X% of our company in equity. Okay, so in the fundraising, if you're especially looking for funds, you need to specify the type of funding that you need. It could be equity. Equity simply means that for whichever money the investor offers you, you're going to give them a portion of your business. So you could say we're looking for $20,000 US for 6% equity in our business. Okay, so that is what equity means. That means that after giving you $20,000, the investor is going to have a 6% stake or ownership in the business. It could also be grant. Grant simply means that we won't be taking any portion in your company. Now, different grants, of course, will come with other different expectations. Maybe it could be reporting. maybe there could be particular aspects of impact they want to see, but a grant is pretty much no strings are tied in terms of ownership of the business. It could also be a debt. A debt is simply something like, for example, a bank loan, right? A debt is a loan, which means you have to pay back at a certain point with a certain interest, okay? That's what a debt is. And it could also be a combination of all this. You could say, okay, we're raising 100,000 US dollars, but the breakdown of that is 50% of that is going to be equity. 30% of that is going to be grants, and the other 20% is open to debt, okay? Now, after telling us how much you also want to tell us how you're going to use that money, which is the most important. What is it that you need this money for? Is it for product development? Is it for marketing? Is it because you want to expand the team and hire some new people? Is it because you need it to, research and development? So you need to specify and break down how you're going to use that money. This really gives confidence to a potential investor to know exactly how you're going to spend this money. And it gives them more confidence to actually invest in you. It shows you understand what you need, okay? That is what we will ask of you in the fundraising. And then you'll just finish, of course, with an ending slide as well, and that is it. So that's really all about the pitch deck, okay? Now that we have our pitch deck, we now go back and proceed here in the application, okay? You will now go back and proceed. Now your pitch deck is ready, it's saved somewhere, you come and continue, okay? Now, the first section of this application will ask you for the personal information. We just want to get to know you a little bit, okay? And so here is just for you to tell us who you are. You already know who we are, and the goal of this webinar is to tell you who we are in terms of YSA, but we also want to know about you. So just say, let's do this. And then after that, we are going to ask you for your first name. So let's say my first name, is Bob, okay? So I'm going to basically enter my first name here, and then I'll say, okay, it's very straightforward. As you can see, this is completely customized. So as you keep going, it will keep learning about you. So it says, wow, Bob is such a lovely name. Now share your last name. I'll give them my last name. That's my last name. And then I'll say next, okay? And it has my name here now. So Bob Okello, that sounds like the name of some future billionaire. You see, we want to cheer you up. But the next point here is to share your email, okay? So my email is here, is okello@xyz.com. Now, the pseudo company, okay, that I'm going to use to show you this application process is called XYZ, okay? XYZ is the name of my company. And so my email is my email company, my company email here. You can use any valid email. This email is important because most of the communication shall be through email. In the past, we have had people entering wrong email addresses and they missed out on all the communications. So before you click OK and proceed, make sure you verify that this is a correct and active email address, okay? That you constantly check, because that's going to be the primary mode of communication between you and the YSA team, okay? Now, we'll ask for your gender. In this case, I'm male. In your case, you put female, and then you proceed. And then after that, we want to know if you are a repeat applicant to the YSA. Did you apply to YSA during cohort 1 or no? In my case, I will say, no, I did not apply. If you applied, say yes. This does not in any way affect your application, but it's just for us to keep track of who is coming back, and also for us to be able to learn in the future of the repeat applicants, how many of them get in and stuff like that. So it's just something for us to know, okay? So I'll say that this is my first time, so no. And then we shall also ask for your nationality. Are you a Ugandan or not? So I'll say I'm a Ugandan by nationality. And then we'll ask for your date of birth here as reflected on your national ID, okay? So this is completely confidential information. We will not share this information with any other third parties, okay? But it's for us to just verify that you fall within the target category of this program. And we are targeting in between youth, basically, which is up to 18 to 35. But we have a bit of flexibility. We are accepting maybe up to 40 years of age. And if you're maybe above that age, reach out to the team. But if you have a co-founder that is within that age category, let them apply instead on behalf of the business. Okay. So here I'm going to enter my my month of birth, which is April. I'm going to enter my date of birth as well, and then I'm going to enter my year of birth. I'll say 1989. That may or may not be my birthday. I don't know, but this is my correct birthday on my national ID. Okay, that's what's important here. And then I'll say okay, and then here we now need to just get some information about your phone. Sometimes I'm gonna have to call you, right? Or send your WhatsApp text. We'll be forming a WhatsApp group for every cohort. So this is where we ask for the detail. So I'm just going to enter my phone number here. And then we shall say, okay. And then here we shall just double check if this number is on WhatsApp or not. Like I said, we occasionally will, need to slide into your DM, with some important messages on WhatsApp. So if this number that you provided before is on WhatsApp, you will just say yes. If it's not, you'll say no. If you say no, we are going to ask you for your WhatsApp number here, okay? So that's just for you to know. But if you say yes, you'll proceed automatically to the next stage. Okay, so we say, now it's time for us to learn a bit about your business. So we say, let's keep going. What is the name of your business? So like I said, for me, mine is XYZ Limited. That's the name of my business. So enter the correct name of your business here. It could be the name that is registered. If you're not yet registered, enter the intended name you plan to register, okay? So just enter the name of your business here and then say, okay. And then from here, we are going to ask you, in which region is XYZ Limited located? Now, the goal here is for us to know the distribution of startups that are applying into this program. Why? Because we shall be doing some regional cohorts. So there might be some trainings and boot camps happening in your region, either in your hometown or in a city near you. That's why we need here. So mine is actually in, let's say, Western Uganda. I'll say, okay. And then they're going to ask me in which district. I'm going to say, mine is in Tungamo. Yeah, Tungamo. That's where XYZ Limited is registered legally, where we are headquartered. I'll say, okay. And then we shall also want to know whether you are registered with URSPS. Okay. In other words, are you already incorporated or not? If you're registered with a sub-county and stuff like that, say no. We want to know URSPS. The goal here is, part of this program is actually to help you to formalize your business. So we shall be helping you to register at some point if you're eligible. So that's why we want to know at this stage if you're registered or not, so we can plan to offer that support at the right stage, especially when you get into the program. So in this case, we are already registered as XYZ Limited. Now, if we're registered, we're going to be asked for the registration date, okay? When was it incorporated? This information is available on your certificate of incorporation, okay? So XYZ, our pseudo company, was incorporated just in October the other day on the 15th of the year 2022. So enter the correct date of your incorporation or registration as it is on the document or on the certificate of incorporation, okay? And then say, okay. Now, here, earlier on, Rita was sharing that we have different tracks, okay? And this is where we now determine where you fall. In which category do you fall, okay? So we want to know, are you in ideation or validation? Internally, we call this the build-up stage, okay? Here you are basically having an MVP or you're building one, so, so it's a build-up phase. And we determine this by the revenue. So if your annual revenue in terms of how much money you're making in 1 year is between $0 to $15,000 the whole year, you fall in the ideation and validation stage. But if your revenue is between $15,000 and $75,000 a year, And just be sure to convert this to shillings so that you know where you fall. Then in that case, you're in the product market fit or in what we call the sales up category or level, okay? However, if you are seriously in business and you are making money, you fall in the scale of growth stage. This is what we call the scale up, okay? So this is very important for you to choose the right stage because the support is going to be tailored to that level. So the support that is going to be offered will be basing on businesses at each of these revenue levels. The challenges at those business levels are slightly different. That's why we really request that you are very frank and honest with us, and we can be able to make sure you get as much tailored support as possible. Okay, so that is in terms of the ideation. So in this case, build up, we just started in October. We're still in the early stage. So after selecting that, I'll be told what stage my business is. So the application from this point has now been tailored. The questions for each category are slightly different. That is why it's important to choose the right stage. If you choose the wrong stage, you won't be able to answer those questions because you won't have that information, because a business at that level typically wouldn't have it anyway, right? So it's really important that you're choosing the correct stage, okay? So that's what we will be asking. So here we'll proceed. And then they'll ask me, how long have I worked on this idea? Well, there are options here. So this is a drop down. Come here and choose. Ours is less than 1 year. So I'll choose less than 1 year. They'll ask me, do you ask me to enter the number of co-founders, okay? So here, I will say that I just have one co-founder, okay? If I do not have a co-founder, I will also, if I go back up, come back. Some of you might be in very early stage. I'll say no. If I don't have, you can see, they won't ask me about that co-founder information, okay? So that is important for you to note as well. Now, after finishing co-founder information, here, we shall now begin to ask you to share a little bit about the problem that you're solving. Now, remember that you already gave us this information in the pitch deck. You already did this somewhere. So go and copy that in the pitch deck. But here, we just need a simple paragraph, basically in one tweet. That is 480 characters to tell us the problem you're solving, okay? So here, I just say that, XYZ is solving, okay, problem, XX for customers, okay, for customers, Y, right, in, in this geography, QQ, for example, okay? The idea here is to really, what's the problem you're solving? For whom are you solving it? And where are those people? Okay. By, or even telling us by doing ABC, right? And how do you solve that problem? Okay. Simple problem statement here. Okay. Where possible, you can also tell us how many of those customers are there, why that problem exists. But the idea here is to give us something as brief as possible, but as impactful as possible as well. And then after that, you come us here and tell us, what is your value proposition? Now here is basically, what is your solution? Again, you already have this information now in your pitch deck at this stage. So go and look at your pitch deck and be able to share with us the solution, okay? So we could say that, your solution is basically, what you do, okay? We help, customers, X, Y, Z, okay? Save more time and money, okay, by doing ABC for them. See that? Something as simple as that, okay? This is how we help our customers. In other words, this is a value, our customers come to us because we help them save time and money. And how do we do that? We do that by doing ABC for them, okay? As simple as that. Again, this is also in about a tweet, okay? And where possible, include some data and some evidence, right? it has been proven that you can actually save time and money by doing this and this according to this source. Okay, but that's really what we mean here. So as brief as possible, you tell us about the solution. Okay, and then after that, you proceed and you'll now come and tell us your progress. What have you done so far? So you just choose all that apply. Here we want to know, do you have a functional prototype or an MVP already? If yes, we'll say yes, we have that. How do you have active users of your solution? In our case, we do not yet have any active users. Do you have any paying customers? Yeah, we have no paying customers. This one is more descriptive of us. And if all of this apply, well, not all of them can apply. For example, you cannot have no paying customers and have paying customers at the same time, right? So if you have already anyone paying you, just go to the have paying customers, but choose the ones that apply to your business right now at the time of application, okay? And say, okay. And then from here, we'll ask you, have you raised any investment money yet? So in our case, we have not yet raised any money. So I'll say not yet. But in case you have, you choose what kind of money you have raised, okay? What kind of investment you have raised. So the kind of different types that I mentioned earlier when talking about the pitch deck are highlighted here: grants, equity, debt, okay? So choose the one that apply. In our case, we have not yet, okay? And then they're going to ask you as well to tell us if you have attended any accelerator or incubator program since starting your entrepreneurial journey. So here, if you say yes, we're going to ask you to just name any, okay? So in this case, I'm assuming that XYZ has already done some sort of program. So here I would say something like, okay, we have done let's say High Innovator, okay? We have gone through the High Innovator Accelerator, for example, by Outbox. We have gone through All Farms, for example, All Farms by Hive, okay? So this is just to give you an idea. So you list it and tell us by which organization or entity did you do that accelerator. And then I'll say no. If I'll say okay. In case you haven't attended any accelerator or incubator program, do not worry as well. Just say no, and you won't be asked to enter that list. So the application automatically adopts itself to your responses, okay? All right. And then after that, I'll say, okay. And I automatically go to the last stage of my application. And now this is where I'm going to be requested to upload my pitch deck, okay? So this is where you now upload your pitch deck. So I'm just going to go to where I have it, and then I'll be able to upload it, okay? So it's uploading my pitch deck. Once the pitch deck has uploaded, you'll see it here, and then I'm basically done. But I need to do the most important thing, which is to hit submit. So once I click submit, boom, it brings me to the screen that says you're off to a phenomenal start. We'll be in touch soon. And if you know any other entrepreneurs like yourself that should be joining this cohort, you have the option to share this with them on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, or on LinkedIn as well. And once you see this screen, this is a confirmation that you have actually submitted your application. If you don't see this screen, it means we haven't received the application, okay? Once you see these fireworks and this message, it means you are done. You can now sit back and wait for communication from us, okay? And that, ladies, is basically how you do the application, okay? Now I will go ahead and stop sharing, and then we can begin to take questions if there are any more questions that haven't been answered. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any questions? If you have a question, please go ahead and just unmute yourself and then ask it. You can raise your hand as well using the raise hand feature, or you can also ask your questions in the chat. Okay, I see Charles Busulwa with his hand up. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, thank you so much. Hope you're getting.
Yes, I'm getting you.
My question
the
is,
lady is called Charles. Go ahead.
No, my question is, in case I have a developed business plan that has different aspects to be performed. Right now, I may be performing one aspect or executing one of the plans I have. Let's say talking of a business plan that is to execute a number of product lines. And then at the current state, I'm producing maybe one product line. In this case, is it okay to flaunt another product line or that is not yet that much implemented on, or I don't know, for the case of the business that has already generated a business plan? Okay, maybe some more elaboration on that.
Okay, thank you. That's a good question. Yes, you can basically front that that side of the business where you need the support and the incubation. The arm of the business where you would need the most support. Yeah, but my colleagues, Rita, Caro, you can as well complement on that. But I think that should be okay. Yeah. Okay. So I see Bernadette Ojao has a hand up. Please, Bernadette. I hope I'm not butchering your name.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the great opportunity. It's my colleague who actually told me that we're put on this call. So my question is, I know this is for startups, and our startup has been in existence for 3 years. So we don't know from what years you consider this cohort for, and what if we really can qualify for it, even if we've been in existence for the 3 years and probably in our journey of growth. Yeah, so
Fantastic.
That's my question.
That's a very good question. Yes, absolutely. You can still apply. As you saw in the application, we asked you for how long you've been working on this, right? So whether you've been working on it for 3 years or 5 years, really, how we define a startup is you're doing something innovative, something that is scalable, right? And a very specific market and problem that you're solving. So it's completely fine to still apply. You're still eligible even after 3 years. And we have business who have been there for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, right? But they're still figuring out a lot of things. That's completely fine. So yes, in short, you can still apply. Okay, I see Barbara Evans. Please go ahead and ask your question. Unmute yourself, please. Barbara, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Your hand is raised. Okay, as Barbara is perhaps trying to figure out a microphone issue, there's a question in the chat. What are the requirements for me to apply the YSA? Okay, Barbara, go ahead and ask the question, then I'll respond to this as well. Barbara, could you speak up a bit? We can hardly hear you. Maybe you just speak close to the microphone. On how to? I think I missed that last part, Barbara. You're saying you're requesting that we also elaborate on how to?
I request that you elaborate on how to register. In the third slide, I didn't get it so well. And then my second question is that there is a slide where you talk of traction. I mean, testimony of the people you've worked with, or of the users of, the people you've worked with, also the users of your product. Now, what if you're still a new business coming up and maybe you do not have testimonies yet? What do you do in that particular slide? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Barbara, for your question. If I got it correctly, so you're mentioning in terms of the registration, whether you're registered or not, that was the first part. You can still apply either way, whether you're registered or not. Then the other question, I think, had to do with the traction. Maybe you don't have any customers yet. You're still a very new business. What do you do on that slide? you'll basically tell us what you have done, whatever it is that you have done. Maybe you have already tested the idea. Maybe you have talked to prospective customers. Maybe you have done some kind of survey, right? Show us something that you have done about this idea that will all count as the attraction, okay? So that is completely fine. And then the question from the chat from Galaxy Note 8, I don't know what that is, but what are the requirements for me to apply for the YSA? Like I mentioned, some of the key things we are looking for is you are a young person between the age of 18 to 40, and then you have a business idea, a very promising business idea. You have possibly a team, and whether that idea is in, like we mentioned, the 3 different tracks, there's ideation and validation. We have the product market fit, and then we have the growth scale. Okay, so build up, sales up, and scale up. So you can apply if your business is in any of that. Now, you don't have to be registered per se as a business. We have a program that helps you to also register your business actually if you're not yet registered. So that's not a problem. But this is some of the basic requirements really. Any sector can apply. This is sector agnostic. In other words, we are not looking for applications from a particular sector. You could be in tech, you could be in agriculture, healthcare, really any sector. As long as you have a viable business idea or business already operating, you can apply. So those are some of the requirements to apply. Okay, great. Do we have any more questions? Seeing that no more hand is raised and there's no more question in the chat.
I have a question.
Yes, Christine, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, my friends. I'm glad to be part of this meeting. And now I have some 3 questions. You talked about putting us on WhatsApp, but may I have a challenge of a smartphone? I don't have a smartphone. What can we do for us who don't have smartphones to be part of the WhatsApp? Because for me, I use someone's computer to get such information. So WhatsApp would be hard for me. And then this part of photos, getting photos for your products. Right now, it's hard for me without the phone to get photos, but I have the things on ground. So I don't know how people can help me there. Then this part of traction, how do I count? Do I have to count my customers or I count from the book of sales? I don't know how to get that count there of the customers and what. I need some guidance there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine, for those very, very good questions. Now, first on the issue of WhatsApp, it's totally fine. As long as you still have a means of getting communication from us, especially accessing your email, that would be sufficient. Like we mentioned, the primary mode of communication is through email. So I do believe that at this point, you can still occasionally be able to access your email from your friend's computer. So the issue of WhatsApp shouldn't bother you and worry you. That is just for secondary mode of communication. But the primary mode of communication is going to be email, okay? So don't worry about not having a WhatsApp. Now, regarding the photos for your products, I would also perhaps just encourage you to find someone that has a means like a smartphone that can help you to do that between now and February. So we have given you an ample period of time to actually, deal with some of these issues. And that's the reason for that is that we understand that some of us might be having some limitations here and there, but I think with enough time, you can find the sort of help you need to put things in order to work on your pitch deck. So if you could find someone that can help you to actually maybe take photos of your actual product, that would be okay. But it doesn't necessarily have to be an actual photo of your product as well. If you can find any other photos that perhaps resemble your product, or look for a creative way of helping us understand your product without perhaps necessarily using the actual photos of your product. Okay, but if you have someone that can help you to do that, I would encourage you and implore you to reach out to that person close by you and just help you take some of those photos. Okay, between now and February. So you have the benefit of time at this point. And then about the traction, you can actually use both methods. Of course, the one that is documented in terms of, your sales records, that I think helps you to understand how many customers have bought from you, right? So you can base that to actually, you can base on that to determine the traction in terms of the number of customers. But if you have a customer register as well, somewhere where you note down all your customers, you can just count them as well, okay? And it could also be actually going as far as getting some testimonials from them. So if you know some of your happy customers, reach out to them and ask them to give a testimonial. What was their experience using your product? Okay, you can also request for that those testimonials from them. And of course, be sure to get their consent, okay? Let them know that, I'll be sharing this maybe on my website or on my pitch deck, so that they're aware of the purpose for some of this, especially if they're sharing things like their photos with you. Just let them know clearly, okay, why you need them. All right. So I hope that answers your questions, Christine. Those were very, very good questions. All right. Any other question? We are about to finish this round. I want to see anyone that hasn't asked the question before Charles. I want to give the ladies, this day is dedicated to ladies. So before Charles can speak, anyone else that has a question, let's see, can I please be added in the WhatsApp group, Caro? Okay, so Lynette Nashide is asking, so Caro will take note of that and reach out directly to Caro about the WhatsApp. I don't think we have a WhatsApp group already for cohort 2, but when it's being formed, you will automatically be added. So Caro has taken note of that. Okay, last question from Charles. What's your question, so that we can land this plane right about now?
Thank you so much. I like the essence of flaunting the lady. My question is, most of the testimonials, like for example, we have are in format of a video, because we found difficulties in actually giving evidence to testimonials in a written form, and then videos opt to be the best, like recording someone. In this case, how can we really show or submit our testimonial in this format, like in a pitch deck, or is there any way we can actually submitting a testimonial like this, maybe from our beneficiary or someone else?
Okay, that's a very good one. 2 ways to go about that. One way is to include the links of some of that in the, you can create the section in your pitch deck that says appendix, for example, or even under the traction, you can just include a link to a video testimonial that the team that will be reviewing your pitch deck can actually click, and then they can see some of that testimonial. They can watch that video, okay? The second way is to actually just extract some, quotes from those videos, because you have proof for it anyway, right? You can extract a quote from that and then have it in a text format that you can put it in your pitch deck, okay? So both of those ways should be sufficient, okay? So that's how to go about that. All right, so there's a question in the chat from Susan, and Susan is asking, can I apply for more than one business? Susan, we would recommend and advise that you apply with one business and choose the best business and apply with that, okay? And this is going to be quite an intense program, and you won't be having time to juggle between those 2 businesses, okay? So just focus on one and really go with that and run with that, okay? So we recommend that you apply with one business. It also shows us that you're serious. When you apply with the 2 businesses, we are going to begin to ask many questions, okay? So commit to one and focus on making that one succeed, okay? So that's the recommendation for all of us, really. Apply with one business, okay? Fantastic. All right. I think that we shall end this webinar here. In case of any other questions, you can send your questions to YSAU@hivecolab.org. The email that sent you this invitation, we shall be able to respond to you. You can also visit YSA www.hivecolab.org to be able to get more details about the YSA. That's the website, okay? But we shall also be following shortly, either today, later, or in the morning tomorrow with a video recording of this and also the details on how to apply as well, okay? But thank you so much for making time to be a part of this Female Founders webinar for the YSAU 2023. And we wish you all the very best. And most importantly, we are looking forward to receiving your applications. Our goal really is to ensure that we have more representation of female founders like yourself in the next cohort. And that is why this particular cohort was dedicated exclusively for the female founders. So we look forward to reviewing your applications and to receiving them in large numbers. If you know any other female founder that needs to be applying to this program and is not on this webinar, please share the information with them. Sharing is caring, okay? So reach out to them and encourage them to apply as well. Otherwise, for me and the entire team at YSAU and Hive Colab, we want to say thank you very much. And yes, the next webinar is on the 21st of December, just to usher you into Christmas. So if you have more questions, if you know someone that needs to be attending, please, on the 21st of December, that is next Wednesday, same time, same link, we will be having another webinar. Thank you very much and have a very blessed evening and rest of the week. Bye.